Okay, good everyone. Detecting a slow internet again there on our lead-in header little video clip there. So I'm hoping we get through the weather on the tracker, and I'm hoping this is live. Our audience is going to be less, but we just got the first one up, so I can see we must be online, which is a good thing. So it's amazing living in the UK. You know, having lived in Tonga for quite a while and lived in Australia and lived in other parts of the world. The sun makes a big difference. So UK weather is always a topic of discussion, but you can see behind me it's sunny outside. But we went down to say a bit of fond farewell to Neptune, who have already left the marina, left Trinity Landing, and that's the first boat that's actually departed, buggered off, as I say in the classics, which is really quite a moment for us as the organizer, because it hits home that it's really all coming to an end for us. I mean, for the entrants, they cross the finish line, and it's like, ugh. For us, first boat's actually left from the actual event per se, and it was a poignant moment. Anyway, they're on their way, and already some of the crew said, "Oh, we're getting ready for 27," and blah blah blah. So it was great to see Tan and Bertrand on the boat and gone, and they're very grateful for everything, and again had a great time, all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty cool. And later today, Spirit of Helsinki. Later today, L'Esprit de Keep and Penjuic will leave. They'll be leaving about 6 o'clock tonight, local time, to head back to France. And then, so it goes. Others will be leaving as time goes by. So yeah, very strange feeling. On board the boats, on the water, it's getting very funny. Okay, there's some funny moments and some serious moments. The funniest one was a message from Tapio. Some of you may have seen it. They're obviously running a lot later than they ever expected on the length of this leg. So the story comes from Tapio that there is actually only 2 rolls of toilet paper for the left in the heads, okay? And then the remaining 10 rolls of toilet paper were individually given to each of the crew. So each crew member has got one special roll of toilet paper, which is their own. And at the same time, they were given the last shared out levels of the goodies, little chocolates and biscuits and stuff. So they've all got their own private stash of goodies. And then he says, can't wait to see the trading, with the trading on board, which is going to happen over the next 5-6 days before they actually get into cows here. So that's kind of interesting. An even better one, you've got to imagine this. Eureka is a great boat, beautiful boat, Swan 65. All French crew, family and friends. And I've got to say, there's a heap of them that are, including Dominic, and they have more than one cigarette a day. I'll put it to you like that. And they're down to 4 packets or bags of tobacco cigarettes on the boat. Now, that's going to be really interesting. If there's ever an incentive to go fast, Eureka are staring at it. It's imminent. I'm not sure how much they go through every day, but I'd say within the next day or so they're going to be out of cigarettes. Then Outlaw gave a description of the jury backstay that they've set up, which is quite interesting as well, to have a read. So that's in the tweets. And what else? Surprise, Explorer's now tacked. And they're making about 1.7 knots because there's no wind. Anyway, we'll talk a bit more about that when we're on the tracker. And the big issue is Triana, trying to get here before about 5 o'clock in the morning on the 22nd. And it's not looking very easy for them. They haven't got far to go, and normally I'd say they could do it, but they're basically looking at near enough to the headwinds all the way into the finish. So that's going to impact greatly on their opportunity to try and maintain their effective favourable position outright overall for all 4 legs. So we'll go through that as well. Anyway, yep, interesting times ahead. So let's go straight to the tracker and have a look at what's going on. So you've got it there, and I've got it here now. So you can see, are we on to we're onto the 12 o'clock UTC position. So you can see straight away, here's the finish over here. Outlaws making their way in. Good time. They should be in sometime tomorrow afternoon. And Triana's now heading down to Spain. And same with Galiana, and same with Evrica, because this is the start of headwinds that is generated by this pretty reasonable size high pressure system that's above them. And that's really complicating the issue, because remember, with Penduic and Maiden and L'Esprit de Keep and even Outlaw, they're just roaring towards the finish with favourable wind direction. And it's just not happening for these guys in the mid fleet. It's just a disaster for them. Not much you can do about it. That's yacht racing. That's how it works. And as I say, with Triana, it's going to have a huge impact. So they managed a 114-mile day, and they're currently doing 7 knots, which is pretty good, but it's all in the wrong direction. They're effectively marking time, because you can see it's nearly 90 degrees to the course. It's not. It's about 60 degrees or something, but not good for them. And I'll come back to Outlaw at the end to work out their ETA. Galiana's making 6.9 knots, 117-mile day, when they should be hoping to do 180-mile days. And Evrica, the same deal, 5.4 knots, 93-mile day, and just very frustrating for them. They all want to get home and they can't quite make it. White Shadow's still not doing too bad. They're right on it. They're still maintaining their direct course. They're fine on the starboard bow, so holding starboard tack, but making a pretty good go of it. They look as if they must be holding very high and making 5.8 knots and 142-mile day. So that's pretty good. Stern are stuck with some solid easterlies. Still not a weather warning situation. We haven't had to worry about weather alerts. This is blowing sort of 28 knots sort of thing from the east, and gusting, as high as 38 knots, nearly 40 knots, 35 knots, things like that. So bouncing around in a 3 to 4 meter sea, and not able to make it towards the finish, but still doing okay normally. But 3.6 knots, there might be, they're holding pretty high at that, and there may be some current there. I'll have a look in a minute. But 92-mile day. In fact, I'll have a look right now, because I haven't looked at currents here for a long time. There's a bit of a current there, but it's pushing them further this way. So not too bad, and nothing of any consequence really for the rest of the fleet with currents. So that's not an issue. So we'll stick with the wind. And then Translated still sitting there, working on the boat as fast as they can. And here's Explorer right over here doing nothing. 0.7 of a knot now, so it's impressive that they've finally tacked. And they've managed 19 miles in the last 24 hours. As an example, I'm saying the same thing that I would do with anyone. It's highly unusual to move so far away from the run line. You would have noticed others when they've got a tack to windward. If they go out on one tack, you try not to get too far away from the run line, because you're just wasting potential where the wind actually changes favourably along the run line. If you keep going out wide, and even with a system like this, you see on this position on the western side of a low, you've got a northerly. At the bottom of a low, you've got a westerly. Westerly would be nice. And on the other side, it's usually a southerly. So it was just a wild, random issue to go out here. Passage planning, if you're planning to go somewhere over here, I still have no idea why they've gone so far off the direction of where they want to head. Normally, you just keep tacking. You take a loss. It means when you do tack on the other tack, you might not be making it. You might be cutting the line down in this direction, but at least you're staying relatively closer, because when you tack back again, you're staying by the run line and keep going, and it usually works out best at the end of the day. So Explorer's now paying the price. They're way off track, 800 miles off the run line. They've still got 2,300 nautical miles to go. Normally, I'd say that's 2.5 weeks, but in this position, they're also in between systems. They're the wrong side of systems. If you're in America or Caribbean, it's getting close to the time to start coming across the Atlantic. And what you do there is you stay over this side, come up on the systems, and then arc across. If you're on this side, you just go for the Azores. They are absolutely in no man's land. So it's going to take them about 3 weeks yet before, in my estimation, about another 3 weeks before they're back in Cowes. And that's going to be somewhere 7, 8, 9, 10 of May. So they'll be breaking all-time records to get to the finish. For Sterner as an ETA, I think we're going to see them somewhere between about the 25th and no, the 26th, 7th, 8th, and in fact, if I had to pick it, I'd say they're more likely to be 27, 28 of April. So we're watching that as well, maybe even 29 of April. Just depends on what's happening, at the time with the weather, which is too far ahead to forecast. And we'll now talk about these guys, the mid-fleet, to work up an ETA for them as the weather progresses in the next couple of days. And then finally, I'll come back to talk about Outlaw and what we're expecting for them, which should be somewhere around tomorrow afternoon in daylight, which is another bonus. Whoop, whoop. So, all right, I'm going to try this. The internet here, sadly, is a little bit slow. I'm just going to walk it through. I'm going to do it in grabs because we want to get to 24 hours ahead, which is there. Boom. Okay, we got it. So over the next 24 hours, you can see there's no bonuses here for Triana and Galiana, but I'm sure they will tack because the winds come a little bit around. It's east of northeast. All right. What they've got right now was true northeast. So when it goes east of northeast, you'll see them tack and they'll come back up in this direction. For Evrika, I'm not sure. They're on it's starting to come south of east, right? So they may tack earlier and start to come up in the middle, but they've got a real dilemma because they're going to sail into the center of the high. In terms of distance, how far are they going to make? Where will they be at this time tomorrow? I'd say they're going to be around about here. They're not going to get a long way on the run line because they're going this way, and then they tack, they come up that way. So they'll be on about the turn point in 24 hours, and Evrika will be up here somewhere. Sterner, I'm not so sure. It's going to go light for them. The center is coming towards them. It's going to go light, and they may have tacked over and just starting to dip into this stronger stuff by then because it's absolutely coming to the southeast. So as it rolls southeast, you'll see them start to follow the breeze around. And I think they'll probably stay with some of this and catch up. So that's not too bad. All right, so that's the first 24 hours. Let's go to the second 24 hours. On the 19th, that's it there, bingo. Okay, so again, now remember Triana and Galiana were going to be about here. They've still got headwinds. It's coming right from where they want to go. So, and it's going to be light. They'll have some solid stuff and light. So I think at the end of 2 days, they're probably only going to be about this area here. So in terms of progression from where they are now, they're going to be around about there, I reckon. Somewhere around about here, not too far at all. Now, if I had to swing that around, so at the end of 2 days, with 17th, 18th, 19th, that's where they're going to be, and they still have 440 miles to go. So that's on the 19th, 17th, 18th, 19th. So for Triana, it's 19, 20, 21, 22. They've got to go 3 days for 440 miles to get, no, hang on a sec, 19, 20, 21, no, it's only because they've got to be in by 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's only like 2.5 days to do 240 miles. And that means an average speed of around 200 miles a day at that point, because they've done so slow on this area here. And if this turns out to be the case, you'll see with the weather may make it too challenging because it's going to be light headwinds. And to do an average of 200 miles a day, you've really got to have solid breezes, and you've got to be sitting on averages that are going towards 8.5 knots, right? Which is a bit demanding. So if we just get out of that, Evrika will be doing something similar up here somewhere. And we come forward another day I'm looking particularly for Triana and Galiana on this. If we come forward to the next day, not that one, but you can see here, the wind is now picking up. It's still from the wrong direction. This is at 1:30 in the morning on the 21st. So it's not even midday, but if we then come through to midday, there it is there, and still headwinds. As they're closing, they've got headwinds, and it's going light potentially. So it's not conducive to 200-mile days, all right? And then if we pull it through to midnight that night, we're on the 22nd. Well, here's the 22nd at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and you've got strong headwinds. So it's gone light for a bit, headwinds, and now it's getting stronger headwinds. So they're going to be tacking all the way up the channel here to get in. and it's not looking good for Triana. When you're here and you've got 740 miles to go, and it's the 17th, so it's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Normally from 5 o'clock this morning, there would have been 5 full days. And at 5 full days, that's only 150 miles a day. Completely achievable if the weather played the game. They could easily do 150 mile days. But the clock is running against Maiden, and it's looking more and more challenging for Triana, but let's just wait and see. I hope that all makes sense. It's a time on distance thing, and the weather's got to play the game. If they had weather like Penjuic had to get to the finish, it'd be a no-brainer. They would just come flying in. But now it's looking very hard. Okay, for Sterner, you can see if I come back here to 17, 18, 19, 20, you can see Sterner's now mixed up with all sorts of bits the first couple of days, and then they've got a following breeze. They can come up the back edge of this, which could be good, so they could be looking okay. And for Explorer, who knows where they are, but they should be reaching across here somewhere with light winds towards the finish, and a final conclusion for their epic adventure. Okay, so now we just want to look at Outlaw. If I come back to the very beginning, and hopefully the internet's playing the game, it is, and I'll pick this up and we'll talk specifically about the ETA for Outlaw. They've done a great job repairing their backstay and keep sailing with some sense of reliability. The sea will all be dropping down now because they've got in the lee of England, and in the channel, the only thing, and any currents and stuff will be this way, so it's across the wind. So they should be starting to see some comfort after their many days coming up from Punta. Currently 7.6, 164 miles to go. And it's now 1 o'clock local time here, just past, or 17 past, so around midday local time, 7.6. You can see they're going to be sometime tomorrow afternoon without even guessing. And to follow it through, now I'll do this in stabs. So this is sort of early hours of tomorrow morning. It's headwinds. They'll be tacking, and they won't want to be stressing the boat at all. So and this is by 4 o'clock. In fact, I went too far then, but I don't want to bounce it around. This is later tonight. Later tonight, they've still got good sailing. So by the time they're down here somewhere, they've still got sailing conditions. That means they don't have to tack. By 4:30 in the morning, it's still fine on the port bow, but they should be okay. By midday, it's gone very light, but it started to flow behind them. Okay, and you can see there's not a lot of wind. It's very quiet, so the current will take an effect there. They might be drifting with the current and so on. And then by this is by 7:30 that night, you've got a breeze. It's a following breeze, so I'm pretty confident on that they will be in sometime tomorrow afternoon. But because of the swinging wind and the calm bit in the middle, and then follow up, it could be anywhere from like 2 o'clock in the afternoon to just before dark. But I'm very confident it should be before dark, but it'll be sometime late afternoon, I think. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's go to the leaderboard here. We'll just quickly look at leg 4 situation. Although no one should be jumping up and down too much. We can see the line on us. They're all line abreast, but it's always IRC. So Penjuic and so on. Outlaws based on an ETA of midday tomorrow, and I think it'll be later. They're 49 days, 7 hours, so they're not going to get any better than that, which means they're not having any impact on these current rankings. And that will put them in on 6th place on IRC, because they'll be later, I think, than 12:34. The others just play it as it's coming, 51 days, 52 days, 54 days with Avrika and so on, but they're all going to windward, so that's going to extend. But even on the current basis from the start, the averages, ETA for for Triana is the 23rd, and this is based on a VMG, that's a velocity made good of 5.3, so average speed, Galliana is still 5.3 and so on, and that's their days. But if we go to recents, we go to recents, you'll see the average speeds have picked up a little bit. So White Shadows jumped ahead because they're going straight north. They're 5.8. They've jumped ahead of Triana and Galliana, which is now their average speed is 3.9 and 3.5 because they're going to windward. So their ETA is the 25th of April and the 26th of April. It won't be because they'll start sailing better than 3.9, 3.5. But based on that, they're 54 days and so on. So that's what's happening. And Sterner will be down the back here 3 knots. They're coming in on the 6th of May, which they won't. They'll be a lot earlier than that. But late, we won't even look at. Yeah, let's have fun. Let's have a look at Explorer. Explorer's going to be here on the 2nd of August. So that'll be fun. All right, enough of that. Now we'll just go to the combined leg results for people that are following this to try and work out what's happening with Maiden versus Triana. It is complicated, but the key element is to look at the estimated arrival date and time, and that's where the calculation comes from Triana. And as I said, it looks as if Triana hasn't got a hope because they're not going to finish until the 23rd of April at 11:43, which could be correct because they're showing that finish time is showing as an average speed of 4.9 knots. Okay, so therefore that would be their finishing time, and this would then be their corrected IRC time, so 180 days, 8 hours. Now that puts them, nearly 30 hours behind Maiden. But if you imagine that they weren't going to windward, or they do better than 4.9 knot average speed, their time can quickly jump ahead 24 hours. Okay, and puts them at threat, puts them at Maiden. But this clearly shows that Maiden is looking good for now, and will Triana be able to increase their average speed beyond 4.9 knots and start taking out time? The days are telling. I don't want to make any predictions because anything can happen, but yeah, right. It's changing as we speak. And yesterday they were still in at one point making good time, and they were above Maiden. So watch this space, and we'll see how it goes. Failing that, also the only other one that's up here. So Triana's on 3rd. The next one that's getting closer is Outlaw. That's not going to happen because they're in tomorrow. So whatever happens, they're never going to get higher than Maiden. And Galliana with Secure, same situation, 4.9 knots, 187 days. It's basically impossible for them to come up and threaten the leaders. So if I had to make a prediction, Maiden is looking very strong right now because Triana is going to have trouble trying to increase their average speed between now and getting to the finish. But let's wait and see. It's all provisional until we check the numbers and so on. Okay, that's enough of all of that. Let's go back and say g'day to people and see. Let's see what happens. Our audience is diminishing rapidly now because so many boats are finished. All their fans are out of here, and so I think all we're getting is the fans from the people that are out there and those that want to see about situation with Galliana and with Triana and Maiden. So anyway, what have we got here? I can't. Oh, here it is. Okay, Maiden photos. Great. Oh, that was cool. Yeah, we had a combination of me and Ada and Tim there. Thanks for that. All is well, both sound and video. Cool. Thank you, Rathlin. Rob, just when we were going to start, guess when Explorer will tack, tipping Paul. Yep, they've finally tossed. Paul, g'day, Paul. Great welcome for Maiden. Yeah, thanks. It was. Warren, Paul, g'day. Very busy Don and his team. Yeah, it's been good. Although we're winding down now. I won't say we're winding down, but we're making exit plans. So for the team and what's happening and where we're going to be. We won't be, once Sterner gets in, Jane and I will be off the island and doing things. We'll head back to France and then come back for Explorer whenever they get here. So there's a bit of movement, but we're all looking forward to seeing the last boats in. I lost the tracker there. Another Adelaide checking. G'day, Jeff. That time Captain Coconut made it. Yep, absolutely. Paul, Explorer was getting close to Cuba than England. Yeah, exactly. It's a topic of discussion. Maybe they're doing it just a grandstand. You always remember the winner and the last guy in. So maybe that's Mark's tactic. I'm not sure. We thought they were heading to Quebec. Yeah, drop off Catherine. Yeah, Catherine's one of the crew. She's Canadian, French Canadian. So kind of fun for them. When is the next SoundCloud call with Explorer? Well, we tried to get one up yesterday. Well, I wasn't doing it. It's going to be with Jack, I think. But they tried 4 times to make the link. And the only message we got from Terry, which is the chief mate, was that they're getting sites and they're wondering. And he mentioned something like, what was it? I forget now. All bets are we're wondering why we're so far out to the west. And some of us have been saying, how can the crew put up with this? You know, we're just thinking, what are the crew saying? Is there a suppressed mutiny going on with the crew? So there's going to be some good stories. I don't know. Maybe they just want to wring it out for everything they've got and stay out at sea as long as they can, so they don't have to face the reality that we all go through with what's next. So I really don't know. Yeah, congratulations, Heather Thomas. Yeah, saw Heather this morning. She's looking very civilized. She'd had a shower, washed her hair, Civvy Street clothes and stuff, and she's looking great. And you know, the whole the girls on Maid, just unbelievable. And particularly Heather, she's managed to keep it all together. You know, no matter what any of the shore crew do and the managers do and this, that, and the other, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it comes back to the skipper, you know, to keep the team together and all that sort of stuff. And Heather just done an amazing job. I got a lot of respect for her and the whole team. You know, they're just brilliant people. So well done, and let's see how it pans out towards the end. But a great thing all round. Morning, Kathleen. Hey, Mark. Go Explorer. Yeah, Mark was a crew on Explorer for leg 3. Thanks, Angela. Hey, Christine. Morning. Morning, Warren. The penalties and clock symbol included in the elapsed time. Yes, all the penalties that have been applied have already been applied to the boats as they left Punta. And at the moment, there's no penalties for any of the boats continuing on. So those numbers are as correct as we can get, but they're still provisional on the leaderboard until we get everyone in. Then we stop and we check all the numbers to make sure it's right, and then they'll all be correct from there. So we're looking good at the moment. G'day, Ron. Yeah, we're meeting more and more people that are following. The funniest ones, when you walk down the street, we're coming back from the boat yesterday. Jane, Ada and I were walking down the street, and we were going faster than locals who come up. They heard our voice. And they're going, we know that voice. It's quite funny. Some people hate my commentaries. It's really cool. When we're out on the water, you know, I get comments and messages. Shut up, McIntyre, you're bloody hopeless. You know, let Ada say something or whatever. You know, because I've got a stupid, nervous laugh and all that sort of thing. But anyway, some people know my voice, and a lot of people know Ada's voice as well. So all cool. I lost track there. Ryan made the BBC News website in the UK, Ryan. Yeah, we've actually made Yahoo News. Yahoo being one of the big supporters, they've been pushing it as well. It's getting around a bit, so a few people are following it. So that's cool. France met Heather's grandmother and family yesterday. She's from a good stock. Yeah, I believe it. It's all down to your parents. For me, it was Betty. Good morning. Why aren't there satellite calls lately? Well, there are, but some of the boats are now finished. We're still doing the usual schedule for satellite calls. Explorer had a bad connection. They connected 4 different times and lost it every time, so gave up, and they've been requested to make the calls now, to make another call today after the scheduled calls. And we had a series of 3 scheduled calls when Maiden was arriving, so we had to reschedule them. So they're still coming. We have, so stand by. And we put some up on Facebook, but you can get them all on the website, on the SoundCloud. Just hit onto that, and you'll see them. Thank you, Robin. I'm glad you like my stupid laugh. But anyway, there I go again. So I'll keep laughing. Yeah, my good mate Jean-Luc Manenhy. We've been mates for a long time. He's got a similar one. It's not as bold as my nervous laugh that I can't control. I don't even know I'm doing it. But I always feel fine. If it's okay for Jean-Luc, it's okay for me. But that's just me. It's what you do. Some people stutter. Some people say all the time. Anyway, I'm waffling on a bit because the race is winding down. Hi from Scotland. Was hoping to pop down to watch Maiden cross the finish, but it's crane in weekend for our boat, so too busy preparing for that. Good on you, Alistair. I'll check it out. Okay, I plan to be at one of the stops in 27. Good on you. 27 is going to be a big topic of discussion. It's open. We're talking to some people now about that, and some of the entrants are already thinking, oh, we'll be there. It absorbs your life. In fact, I gave who was it? Was doing the interview. I don't know whether it was a recorded one or they were just talking, just saying, it absorbs 4 years of your life. It's what you do. It's a great. No, I know what it was. It was Grant Dalton on the 1990 Whitbread race, I think it was, or 93, 95. I was watching a video this morning, just checking out on something, and they asked him, why do you do it? And he gave a great answer, and just saying, see, because when you're involved with a project like this, which is the Whitbreads, it was the last of the Whitbreads, I think it was, before he was in a maxi and they had the Volvo 60s, the Whitbread 60s. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Grant Dalton is the holder of the America's Cup and all that stuff. Amazing sailor, an interesting guy. And he said, the 4 years that they're involved with the campaign, it's everything in life. It's everything. It's all the ups and downs, the emotions, the frustrations, the challenges, this, that, and the other. It's a beautiful way to carry on your life. And I've got to agree, because in life, we all, tend to flatline. It's all too comfortable and it gets very boring. But when you're involved with a project like this, it can be horrible, it can be ecstatic, it can be emotional, it can be everything. And you've got something that pulls it all together, and it's very complete, very tidy. And now it's over. I'm sure we'll see, as happened in the early Whitbreads, where some skippers and some teams kept coming back and back and back. And because you get the bug, and it is not a bad way to have an activity in the back of your mind, when it's all going on. So who knows? I plan to be okay. Producer, last one. Watched your fabulous live broadcast of Maiden crossing the finish line yesterday, except for the fact that we couldn't work out when they crossed the finish line. We were focusing. It was so funny. We said, are they finished? We thought when they brought the flags out, we thought, oh, that must. Well, we sort of thought that was cool. We thought it was a pre-flag raising thing for the finish line, and I said, I couldn't work it out where it was, and because we were waiting for Georgie's radio call, and we didn't get it on the boat. Anyway, it was fun. So exciting for the crew. Thank you for the great videos. That's cool. And congratulations to Maiden from the crew from Seabrook. Yeah, that's cool. We were amazed. There was 3 big ribs out there with virtually no one in it. We couldn't work out what that was about. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, any gear available, Elizabeth? Any gear available to purchase in the UK? It is, but there is a shop there now. Jane can get some stuff out on from the shop through OGR, and we've got some stuff here, but it's here with us in the UK in Cowes at the moment, so it's a bit difficult to get it to you. But we'll address that. So if you keep an eye out, we'll promote the shop every now and then on the website. And we have been sending stuff to people when we're back in La Sable d'Olonne in France. Okay, that's it. A bit too much, but we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow for the tracker, and then I think Outlaw will be in after that session at 1 o'clock, but we'll wait and see. Okay, have a good day, and catch you later. Crikey's half an hour. Cheapers.